So some of the techniques that you would need for elicitation, obviously brainstorming, this very, very helpful tool for you to come up with ideas. Again, don't shoot down any idea as good or bad. It's important that you collect all the ideas, and then you can talk about the feasibility of each of those ideas at a later point of time. So essentially this is done, mostly initial stages with the teams and with the people. And then with the document analysis, is very important that you refer to existing documents. Bear in mind with interview as well, right? You don't go there with a formed opinion already. That's called framing or leading question, right? So you don't ask leading questions. Okay, what do you think technology solutions are the best way forward for our organization? You already gave that, right? You're hinting them, you're anchoring them with the idea of technology solutions. Why? They could be non-technical solutions as right, where you have got some solutions to do with people, restructuring the organizations, mergers, acquisitions. All of these don't have anything to do with technology delivery. They're things to do as a business. It's like a business structure, and these are activities outside technology. But when you're trying to ask questions which are loaded or which are leading, that means you're trying to frame them into giving you an answer, which is not a good interview in the first place, because the very purpose of having an interview is lost there. So other techniques, we'll use estimation. I think you were part of the session where we talked about different estimations, starting with sizing. Then then from the sizing we apply productivity, then effort. From the effort and the resources we come with a schedule. From the schedule and the resources again would give you the cost. So again, very important, because again, the estimation here is all about time, and then what could be the cost involved and things like that for carrying out these activities, elicitation activities, interviews, workshops. We do data mining because we are sitting on loads and loads of data that comes out of these sessions. Trust me, I told you about the incidents where when we were doing this interviews with one-on-one interviews with people, this guy from the client organization, he was so methodical that he used to take all the points, and each interview used to have like no less than about 20-25 pages on average. Like that, we conducted about a good 120 interviews across Boston. We went to Boston, Harvard, MIT, and then we did the interviews in Boston University. Then from there we went to Washington, from there to China, in Beijing, Shanghai, from there India, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. So imagine the kind of interviews. Again, we were actually doing one-on-one interviews, but still we had no less than 120 interviews. I was sitting on no less than a few thousands pages worth of the notes that this person had, and to cull out the key findings from there, to mine that, to get the keywords and key points and the decisions and some of the ideas, design ideas and constraints, challenges, pain areas. It takes so much of effort, and I had to spend a good few weeks to just go through those notes, and he used to send me the scanned copies of those notes that he used to write on, and then I just used to send these scanned notes again, wade through those things and then identify again, print it out, underline those keywords, then again type it down into a mind map. I used a mind map called Free Mind, just so that I can just dump all of these ideas and design stuff into it. So it started slowly forming a good shape, and then finally I could use it to create the presentation. So very, very important. Again, I was just saying this mind mapping, very, very useful tool for us, because it's not structured, and sometimes it could be unstructured insights. So just mind map is a bit more flexible on that front. You can just put your ideas. I used to have like design ideas, constraints, pain areas, challenges, opportunities, needs, something like that. And then some others I used to have a different way. So it actually is a good way to kind of.
What is the tool you use for mind mapping?
Free Mind, free, FREE, Free Mind. Yeah, it's a free tool, but there are lots of better tools than that. But this is a free version. There's one called Boozen again, and there's a lot of those mind mapping tools available for for cost now. But back in those days, for Mac, it used to be freemind.org. That's the one which I used. It helped. It worked its purpose, and I could, as I said, no less than 120 interviews done in about 5 weeks time. I had so much of data, and it helped me, kind of do the the skimming of the data and come up with the good insights. And then risk analysis and management, very important tool. Again, we need to identify what are the potential risks, the threat assessment, and then come up with the mitigation strategies and things like that. Very useful again. And we do the stakeholder list. Remember the RACI matrix, we were talking about stakeholder wheel, the RACI matrix and the personas. Yeah. All of these kind of tools are helpful to kind of identify which stakeholder forms in which, falls into which group, what is the kind of their role, their persona, and then we can try and approach it from the perspective. We can't go to a technology person, ask business questions and vice versa. So understanding their role, the kind of responsibilities, the typical work day, the background, their education background, the kind of roles they do in the organization at the moment. All of these would help you frame your questions when you go before the interview to actually have a kind of a list of questions that you could ask. They help you prepare well. Although you might end up asking, for example, you can't just go to the business guy and say, or a marketing person say, what technology stack would you propose for the new platform that we're thinking? Do you have any idea what is the kind of infrastructure that we're using? They'll go completely berserk, because obviously it doesn't match, it doesn't match with the kind of profile and the work that they do. So you should try and structure your questions and the kind of data that you're trying to elicit from these people should be aligned with their work, their role, and the kind of mental model they have in their mind. So very important. These stakeholder lists, the RACI matrix and the personas would really help you to be prepared better for these kind of scenarios. And so what are the different stakeholders that you would involve in this elicitation? Obviously, you would try and have the domain SME, for example. So they're the best people to go to. They're the go-to people if you want to ask any questions about healthcare, about banking, about those specific industries and verticals. These are the people who've got deep knowledge into those and deeper experience. From their experience, they can give rich insights, which you would not get even after you go through like 10 years and 15 years of studies and things like that. So these are the people, these are the go-to people who can give you rich insights just in a few interactions and few sessions. So, or even just having chat with them for 15 minutes would open up your mind to see what are the opportunities, what are how you can look at that, right? So it's important you consult and get the insights from the domain SMEs and the industry experts. End users, obviously very, very important. The end users are the people who are going to use your product, who are using already, or they might be using some of your products already or similar products like that. So they are rich sources of information for you to understand what went right, what went wrong, what are their problems, what are their pain areas, right? So it's important you consult this. And implementation subject matter expert are the people who are the architects, the people who've got a lot of experience and expertise into developing, deploying technologies, using stuff, infrastructure, DevOps kind of things. So again, they are the domain SMEs end users give you the perspective about the as is situation, the problems space and the problem statement and the problem domain. Whereas the implementation subject matter expert, once you have formulated the problem definition, and then you have a rough idea in terms of where you're going, the to-be situation, the to-be solution, the proposed solution, then the implementation subject matter experts could be very helpful in structuring your solution recommendations, and perhaps they'll give you some pointers as to what are the options that you have that you can try and look at the solution. So that is the to-be. So these are the to-be solution experts, whereas the as-is, the domain SMEs and the end users could give you the insights into the as-is. And the sponsors, obviously, you need to understand what their objectives are, their expectations, because that's very important, because they're the key drivers for the whole program and initiative. And customers and end users, obviously, depending on the product, process, or whatever it is. Sometimes it could be internal, sometimes it could be external. But end of the day, customers, consumers, or end users, and all this segment would actually provide vital insights into what you're trying to achieve out of this process or product, whatever it is. So that is your set of key stakeholders that you must engage with in this particular